One of my mentors calls it showing up dumb. You do it when you leave your personal, opinionated, judgmental thinking behind, as much as one can anyway, and show up open in the moment. When you show up dumb, without a lot of personal ideas cluttering your mind, you get to discover life as it truly is. When you show up smart, full of your own beliefs and ideas, you don't discover anything. Instead, you tend to just confirm what your own mind already thinks it knows. Discovering is very different from confirming. Discovering leads to change. Confirming leads to more of the same. Given that you're here for change, discovering is definitely the way to go. Wisdom, common sense, and helpful ideas are available to you at all times. When your mind is relatively free of personal thought, you're bound to discover them. When you listen to what experts say about breaking your habit, even though their insights don't resonate with you, you're ignoring your own inner guidance in favor of someone's personal thinking. Showing up dumb, unattached to others' opinions, allows you to find the path that works for you. When your habit makes you sick or feels awful in some other way but you continue to do it, it is your habitual thinking that is leading the charge, drowning out your own common sense. What gets in the way of health, peace, and clarity is personal thinking, that stuff that makes us smart. As you begin to hold what you think you know more loosely, considering that maybe things aren't always as they seem, you make room for new thought. You are guided by something far wiser than intellect. The less you think you know, the freer you are and the more you discover. I came to see this "the less you think you know, the freer you are" truth very clearly with my own binge-eating habit. For years, I thought I knew exactly what my body needed to look and function the way I thought was best. I believed I needed to nearly always eat healthy food, and of course I made up the definition of what was healthy food. Only very occasional, less healthy treats were allowed. I thought I should never eat when I wasn't hungry, unless it was a rare and special occasion. My personal thinking also told me that I needed to exercise for an hour a day, at least 6 days a week, and that the exercise needed to be hard, not fun. Looking back, it's amazing how specific and regimented my recipe for success was in my mind. It looked to me that if I followed those made-up rules to the letter, I would maintain my weight. If I veered off of that plan even just a little, I wouldn't. You may be looking at my rules thinking, of course you believe that. Those are things that lead to being healthy and fit. They certainly are not counterintuitive. There are many experts who would say that those things are helpful, maybe even necessary ingredients for maintaining your weight and being in shape. The thing is, there is scientific evidence for nearly every opinion out there, especially with regard to physical health, weight, and fitness. You will find experts who agree with pretty much any thought you have. What one expert swears by, carbs, intense cardiovascular exercise, or caffeine, another expert rejects. My problem was that I only looked at one side of that equation. I could find experts who agreed with each of my personal opinions, and I found scientific evidence that corroborated everything I thought. So I stopped there. In some cases, I didn't even realize there were opposing viewpoints. I made the advice of some experts confirm that what I was doing was right, and I completely missed the fact that it was only personal thought I was clutching to. In hindsight, I can see how my wisdom actually did try to speak up. I did have the occasional sense that there had to be an easier way, but I let my personal thinking override it. I can see now that I was clutching to my own personal thought. The fact that my diet and fitness regime felt so bad is an indication that I was relying on my own thoughts instead of wisdom and truth. I was certain it was necessary, but my relationship with food and exercise felt harsh and restrictive. It required enormous amounts of discipline and energy. It was not natural by a long shot. My wisdom and common sense told me, often actually, that this was no way to live. But I dismissed that wisdom. because I was afraid to loosen my grip on what I thought was the best way forward. It can be difficult to tease apart personal thought that seems indisputable with truth or wisdom, but luckily you don't need to do that. You only have to be willing to be wrong about what you think you know and let something clearer and more certain rise to the surface. The feeling, especially feelings of peace and clarity, will show you the difference. When you are willing to look beyond your own subjective logic and intellect to something that speaks to you in a deeper way, you will hear it. When I stopped believing my own made-up rules about what my body needed, and I admitted that I didn't know anything for sure, my body showed me what it wanted and needed. Not all at once, but over time, a series of insights and questions occurred to me that led me to a very different place. As it turns out, I actually could enjoy dessert regularly and have fun, moderate workouts, and still, quite easily, maintain my natural weight. As soon as I loosened the grip I had on my old way of thinking, these possibilities arose. When I asked myself, what if I'm wrong about these things that feel so difficult? I stopped confirming and was free to discover. The wisdom within me pointed me toward choices that felt right for me. My common sense led the way. I began eating and moving in ways that occurred to me to eat and move, and it felt easier and freer, like I was getting closer to home. It was not always easy to dismiss the personal thinking that told me that it knew better. I certainly don't want to suggest that this was easy, but I did feel myself moving towards something that felt more natural.